Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about sleep, play, food, and aging. Join us as we share ways to stay current in these areas while aging with style and attitude. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about sleep, play, food, and aging. Join us as we share ways to stay current in these areas while aging with style and attitude. This episode is inspired by the book we're reading, French Women Don't Get Facelifts by Mireille Guiliano. Each month we're doing one or two chapters from the book, and as with all our book episodes, you do not need to be reading the book to enjoy this episode. So join us as we explore how to be comfortable in your own skin, seeing ourselves as we really are, and developing a plan for aging. All right, so she really hit us big right off the bat with sleep.
I thought about you.
And then right after reading that last night about 9 habits of good sleep, I think I laid in bed from like 1 to 4. Like just have to. And so I am interested in this first part, like tips for sleeping, although I know the tips for sleeping, and I feel like some of that is just my age. I don't know if the tips can make up for the stage of life I'm in. But we're starting out, listeners, with sleep. So if any of you women have been struggling, that's the first part of the chapter. So Julie, do you want to kind of like summarize what this chapter's about?
Yeah, she starts off with sleep, and of course she's always good at contrasting America with Paris because she's lived in both, in Paris and in New York City. And she said the main differences are in America, it seems to be like a lack of sleep is a badge of honor, which I don't know that anybody in midlife thinks that way, but that is kind of our culture, it's okay to live on 4 hours, 5 hours. And she kind of noticed this because when she would take walks in New York City, lights were on till very, very late. And if she got up early, the lights were on very, very early. And in Paris, not so much. And she said, of course, I'm not saying that young people don't go out and party till all hours of the morning, but in general, that's a cultural difference. And I really think that's true. I think Europeans know how to take care of themselves better than Americans do. Like they value leisure and rest and better habits. So that's kind of how she started off. She said, after all, like New York City is called the city that never sleeps.
True.
Paris is not called the city that never sleeps.
Right.
So she said, but compared with New York, Paris is on a different planet as far as that. So that led into her sleep habits. And I think she had, 7 or 8, 9?
9, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought we could just go through those and see, like, do any of these help you or... I know there were a few I think I need to start. If I'm going to implement one, there's a few in there that I need to start doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So her first one was move during the day. And I feel like I already do that. Do you guys feel like you have a lack of movement during the day?
For the most part, I would say no. I mean, I'd have to be sick to not be moving.
True.
I think.
Yeah, like we don't have like desk jobs where we're like sitting 8 to 5 and then we have a commute an hour each way. Like I feel like we probably, she wasn't even saying that you have to be moving the whole day. She was saying like even 20 to 30 minute brisk walk, I feel like we probably meet that threshold.
Right. I would say that characterizes my life in general, but recently in grief, there are days where I don't get off the couch or, I'm reading or like I'm not just sleeping, but I'm reading and I've noticed my sleep isn't as good. Oh, and I think that I totally agree. Like being emotionally tired does not bring on good sleep, but being physically tired really does. Like if you've been sweating and exerting energy, like I always feel like I sleep really well if I'm physically tired.
Definitely. And she coupled that with not doing heavy exercise right before bed, which I also agree. Like there's a balance to how much you should move and also maybe kind of to the when you should move during the day. Combining some of these things I thought was a natural habit probably for most of us or at least the three of us is really what I'm trying to say. And so, but yeah, I've noticed that I love a little walk at night, but if I go for, a fast walk or a really long walk, well, then I'm so energized, I can't settle down for a while. So there's kind of a happy medium, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what could have happened to me last night because it's so hot that I've been walking the dog either early morning or late at night. So I probably walked her for 45 minutes, like around 9. So I might have messed up my sleep. I don't know. I mean, that's not the only night that I lay in bed, but it could have contributed. Who knows?
Marie, I was just walking with a friend yesterday and we both agreed that with sleep in midlife, I mean, sometimes you could just do everything right. You could get a great routine. You could follow it to the T and then like a hormone fluctuation will hit or something. And it's like you could be doing everything right and then wake up in the middle of the night or you're hotter or you're restless or whatever. So.
Yeah. I have a friend that really struggles with insomnia and she said that happens all the time. Like if she has a good night's sleep, she immediately thinks, what happened yesterday? What did I do? What did I eat? Where did I go? Like she's trying to link it to something. And I don't think she can really.
Yeah. Like recreate, go through the exact same steps at the exact same times and eat this food at this time. Yeah. We love our sleep. It feels so good to get a good night's rest. So definitely worth talking about.
For sure. Her next one was stay away from stimulants. I already feel like I don't drink a lot of caffeine, and I don't smoke. They said nicotine, and I don't really drink anything in the evening. So, I just don't think that any of that would really be affecting my sleep. What about you guys?
I mean, I just pretty much stick to my morning cup of coffee, and I don't feel like that. I mean, caffeine can stay around in your system for hours, but I'm going to bed so late that it's not around. So
it's not interfering.
Right.
Mindy would have to drink it really early.
Oh my goodness. Well, I do remember this was kind of a family rule. I remember my mom saying something about when I was younger. And if I was going to have a soda, as long as you have it before 3:30.
Oh,
and I remember her saying that. And so I kind of thought I was, sometimes I might want an afternoon cup of coffee. I don't always, I always just have coffee in the morning and then water. But no, I think if I'm going to have an afternoon cup of coffee, I hear my mom, I'm like, as long as it's before 3:30. And then as it gets older, I was thinking about you, Marie, this helps me get tired too, is drinking hot water. So we've talked about that before. If I'm going to drink something at night and I need something cozy, I want to hold the hot mug, it's just hot water. And that actually helps relax everything.
I think a hot drink at night can be very relaxing.
I see my son, my son lives with me and he'll be over at the espresso machine making a shot of espresso and it's 10 o'clock at night.
Oh
and I'm thinking,
my gosh.
Oh, I said, how are you doing that? And he was like, what do you mean? He goes, it doesn't affect me. I was like,
to be again.
Yeah.
That's what we all said at one point or another.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's one that I know that Mindy's pretty good about. Try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day.
Yeah.
I in general feel like I do that. I do find though that if I haven't had enough time for myself during the day, I will stay up really late. I'm not going to bed until I've had some time to myself.
Yes.
I know. I feel robbed. It's like, oh, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. But it's like, no, I really enjoy this time. And now I have all the time in the world by myself. But at night, it's the time I want to do what I want to do. The day I'm busy, I'm off doing stuff. But night is like my time. And I really thought after John died, I've heard people say nights are horrible. I really enjoy my nights. I do not mind being here. It's my time. And so... yeah, but that's the one habit I said if I was going to try to adopt one of these habits, that's probably the one.
Okay.
I need to do. Yeah.
Well, this has shifted for me because I used to really be a late owl to get my time to have quiet in the house. And so, but now sleep is such a gift. It's like my favorite dessert. And so if I can get in bed and all the lights are off and I can read my Kindle, by myself and then not off, that is such a happy thing for me. And so now I see it as a, it's such a treat, especially if it's earlier.
Right.
But you're breaking the next rule, though.
I know.
The next rule is reserve the bedroom for sleeping only. Now, I don't have like an office in my bedroom, but like I enjoy watching TV in bed sometimes and turn my mind off. Like I enjoy that.
And reading in bed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can just completely only go in my bedroom to sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say my Kindle, the light of the Kindle is less than like your phone light.
Yeah,
or,
that's true.
If I had a book light, because I used to use a book light, and there is something about reading fiction, lighthearted, for the most part, lighthearted, just a few pages or a chapter that just like gets my mind off of the daily and lulls me to sleep. So it's just such a gift.
I was going to say, there's nothing that puts me to sleep faster than trying to read in my bed at night.
Oh, right, right.
So that's almost a surefire way to fall asleep for me.
Right. All right, the herbal teas, that kind of goes under the hot drinks. And so she's basically saying a hot drink can help. Turning lights off earlier, lights signal to our brain that it's daytime and can interfere with our body's ability to wind down. I do like to have the house a little dimmer in the evening. I mean, I think that's a cozy feel anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all talked about our love for lamplight.
Right.
Right. I was going to say, it's all the time for me. Yeah.
This is all year, all the time, all the seasons, lamplight.
Yeah. Turning off the computer and TV at least a half hour, but preferably an hour before bedtime. Okay. That is the one that if I was going to change something, but I don't know if that really affects me or not. I know people are saying, maybe you're kidding yourself, but again, like if Steve and I have not had time to sit down and unwind and watch a show, then I will say, you want to watch a little bit of our show right before we go to bed, and we watch like a half hour of it. And I don't know that I want to give that up because we might not have had any time up until that moment to sit down. And it's like, that's like my mind turning itself off. Is okay now. I can't just like go right in there and go to sleep. But I mean, I see what they're saying, and I don't want to be on the computer, but I don't mind really watching a show. Yeah,
I tend to watch kind of mindless shows at night. Like I don't think I'd want to get into a mystery or something I had to pay attention to. Like I like to watch one little mindless show. Like it's just a way to. It's just almost know what they're going to say. I've watched it so many times, that kind of thing. And then the phone screen, though, I do think affects, the blue light and it's so close to your face. And then you see things and you get kind of worked up over them, especially if it's social media or whatever. And then a lot of times I do that and I find, I went to bed at 10, but now it's 11:45, and that's why I'm going to bed too late. So, I would be better putting the phone away.
Well, here, I guess my one hack for this, because I am on my phone at night and I am watching TV at night. So maybe the only difference for me is location. I don't have a TV in my room and I refuse to look at my phone in my room. So even walking through the threshold, maybe I incorporate kind of a personal rule of it's lights out and Kindle time in the bedroom. Like when I'm in there. So, because a lot of times, like, I'm watching TV in the living room with boys or with Bryce or whatever. And I could go to bed on my own and the TV still and I can hear it because it's right on the other side of my bedroom wall, but I could care less. Cause once I'm in my cocoon of my bedroom, then I kind of zone it out and the phone is gone. Bryce is our emergency contact at night for the children. So I really just happily zone out.
Yeah, that's good. I like that idea of the cocoon, Mindy. All right, here was one that I don't really ever think about, but I don't really ever do it either. It says avoid having a very large meal before bedtime. So I could see how this could be hard. Like if you get home late from work and then you leave early for work and you want to cook yourself a meal, like I could see, I mean, she says to have dinner at least 2 or 3 hours before you plan on going to sleep. But, that could be tough for some people. Or like if your kids are at a ball game, and then you get home and you finally have a chance to, like, I can see how this is like a problem area. Something
Well, it also
hard.
says very large meal. So I noticed that mostly, like if we're going out to dinner to celebrate a birthday or whatever, it's usually a little later, and then I'm going to eat more, and maybe have a dessert. And I've noticed those nights, I just think, I don't like going to bed an hour after I've done that. It just feels miserable. So, yeah.
I think this is probably the biggest life hack that has changed my gut, the inflammation, everything. It's just, I have learned that my body really needs, I'd even increase that amount of time to 3 to 4 hours if I can handle it. Like, not eating 3 to 4 hours before bedtime on a normal day. That's what I'm practicing, because I just sleep so much better when my stomach is heading more towards the empty, definitely not full. There's certainly exceptions to that where I'm eating, within that window of going to sleep, but it affects me. I have definitely noticed it. So that's something that I do like to practice if I can.
That's probably a habit I could change then, because I love a bedtime snack. Steve and I usually, we either have cereal or we have yogurt, fruit, and granola. Those are kind of either one of those, but really my whole life I've had a bowl of cereal or something before bed.
Marie, I have too. This is like the hardest snack time for me to cut out. It is the hardest snack time.
I love a bedtime snack. Yeah.
But I do feel
but
better.
That doesn't make me feel full. That doesn't make me feel full. It's mainly just like a dinner, a meal that I wouldn't want to do. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I'll have, and then I think, now I want this.
Oh, okay.
I'm all like, it wakes me back up and I'm all excited to party.
Okay.
I can't do that.
All right. Well, this seems like a no-brainer, but create an environment that's conducive to sleep with your bedroom that's totally dark and well ventilated and cool. And I do turn the thermostat down at night. I'd have it up like a good 5 degrees, but 3 or 4 degrees higher in the day than I do at night. And I get too hot. And we have blackout curtains. I definitely like blackout curtains. Now, I would say that as I've gotten older, like when I was young, I don't even know if I always closed the curtains when I went to bed. Like some of these things don't bother you as much when you're young. But now it's like I need my sound machine, my earplugs, the blackout, the cooler temperature.
Yeah.
I don't do blackout. Like I can leave my shades up.
Oh,
and
so you still do leave your shades up.
And then I think, oh, well, the neighbors see everything I'm watching on TV.
Nice.
So, but I do like it to be cool. And I like crisp cotton sheets in the summer and flannel in the winter. And then I have my IKEA down comforter always folded at the foot of the bed, winter or summer, because I like to be chilly enough to pull it up, even in the summer. And then my white noise is on my phone. So it's perfect.
Okay. Well, Bryce and I are at different body temperatures right now. And so we're on the struggle bus with finding a happy medium. Also, our bedroom happens to just naturally stay a little bit warmer than the rest of the house. And also he wants the fan on. I don't want the fan on. Because it dries out my sinuses. So I think we have to find like a happy medium here for us, like with the room temperature. We both want it cooler, but he needs it even cooler than me.
Which is surprising.
I will say I know. I know it's coming, you guys. I know my body temperature is going to rise. He's like, I can't wait for that to happen. I'm like, really? I can. But something, and it's with this house only. I don't know why, but I have learned to love moonlight coming through my back windows. And I think it's because we're country enough and I don't have neighbors' lights out my back window. It's private. And we have a really beautiful view of the sky. And it's certainly on the nights where it's a full moon, it's like a nightlight shining in the back of the room. There is nothing more comforting. There's something awesome about moonlight. I'm sure there's something there.
I know what you mean, Mindy. At our old house, when there was a full moon, because we didn't pull our shades in that house either. And it was just beautiful to come in. I loved it.
I do. This is a new love for me. And like I said, it's just this house that I've enjoyed that.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to the next part of the chapter. And that was maybe a little bit more fun than talking about sleep, where I'm consistently failing. But so what did she say about play? And sometimes she called it beach time. So what was she talking about, Julie?
Yeah, well, she's just stressing the importance of maintaining like a mental and physical equilibrium to stay healthy. So she said we need time for ourselves. We need playtime. We need vacation time. We need quiet time. And she said, think about words like respite, refuel, recharge, relax. So she actually said, if you were at a party and you said you had a question for someone that you didn't know, like, hey, what do you do for play? She said, most likely you'll get like deer in the headlights look.
Yeah.
Like people are not expecting that question because maybe they don't even know. They don't realize that they don't have anything that they look forward to as just for fun, like that they kind of schedule in. I think that's her point, is like you need to make time to where you do it routinely.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it as maybe more than just a vacation, like this was more like a regular part of your life. So, and she gave a lot of different suggestions. Like swimming was a big one, which
I hate swimming.
I would love to do it because they talked about how great it was for your back and your muscles and your joints. Yeah. But you still got to get your hair dry afterwards.
It's the hair.
Yes.
I feel like it's the getting cold too. Like I guess a couple months of the year, but like who wants to go swimming once the temperature changes?
I know. So I just have never been able to get it. I've tried it a couple times and then usually right after the Olympics,
You're thinking about becoming a swimmer.
Yeah. You're Katie Ledecky.
And then it's like, nah, that's not going to last. And then she had this like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 pages about this sport that I can't even pronounce, but it sounds like it's bocce ball. And I mean, she just went on and on and on about that.
Must be a big thing over in Europe or something.
Yeah, but it really just made me think, okay, this is cornhole in America. And I know it's not the same game, but I mean, that's the equivalent, because she said it's just, it's not something that's going to get your heart rate up. It's just very social. People talk while they're waiting on everybody to have their turn or picking up the balls or whatever. So I thought, okay, I get that. It's, half the fun is just the social part of it, I guess. So,
yeah, this area of do you have play every day? I feel like I don't have a problem scheduling time for myself or things that I enjoy doing. Like I don't have a problem. I recognize my need for it. And even if I have to grab it the last hour of the day and stay up too late, like I just recognize that about myself and really try to make some room for it. And I don't picture you guys having a hard time with scheduling play either. I mean, she talks about that some people actually feel guilty when they're not working or when they take time for themselves. And she says that calls for an attitude adjustment. Do you guys feel guilty if you're not working or taking time for yourself?
No.
I don't feel guilty. Right now I'm not doing this. I don't do this.
Okay, so you're not even reading for fun or hiking for fun?
No, I'll take time for myself. I guess I don't call it play.
Okay.
Right.
Like even a hike I enjoy. I know it's going to be good for me, but I don't go into it thinking, woo, this is so fun. Like it's like I need to get out there because I know when I get back. Like that's what I did this morning.
Okay.
And it was a hard hike, but I feel so much better now. But it's not like, I guess the word play is one I'm getting hung up on.
Okay. I could see that because I kind of made a list of the things I would put in this category, and I wouldn't call them like fun, but I would call them necessary, like mental breaks or
restorative, maybe.
Yeah, maybe restorative activities, because even eating lunch slowly by myself is on my list.
Yeah. Well, yeah. She said time to yourself, quiet time.
Yes. And so I just think that's crucial. It's crucial for me to be able to get other things done after having a season or a period of rest or restoration.
So one of the questions that you asked us, Julie, was, do we have active social hobbies that help the aging with attitude process? So like active social hobbies, I mean, I would have to say my biggest one is pickleball, but I am amazed. I said to this one woman this week, I said, I heard a rumor that you are 77. Now, I would have told you that she was in her 60s. The way she runs around the pickleball court and she's out there. And like, I feel like that's such a good example of an activity helping you kind of combat aging. Like that's aging with an attitude in my mind. So I would definitely put like, if there's any sport, tennis, she used an example, swimming, golf, if there's any sport that you enjoy that is also even social, that's even better benefit of it. You know, if you can do it with other people, I feel like that's like, you need to make time for that as you age. Like that is a restorative activity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ironically, I would say hiking is restorative for me. I guess it's just on page 130. She said, you know, think about it. It takes you outdoors. It's a hobby. It provokes healthy laughter, breeds pleasant social engagements. Like, I'm not doing that right now, but I am doing things that get me out there and get me moving and get me outdoors. And pickleball, you know, I can see how that might be something again that I do. There's a group at church that I've played cards with, and that's good because it's like, get your mind going, and it is a little social. And then we have game nights every week with my kids come over, and that's just something I really look forward to. I actually laugh a lot on those nights.
Yeah.
And my mom has even told them, like, thanks for bringing laughter back into our house. Like when they come visit, it's fun.
Oh,
so
that's great.
I do think laughter is important, but that's just a little harder right now. So
that's a whole subject we should delve into more, laughter. So without overthinking this social activity with other people, I feel like walking with friends. So Marie, I heard you say that. And so ironically, I would put walking by myself as a restorative activity for myself that I love. And I'd also say walking with a friend is my social activity with friends. Yeah. And I actually need both. And they have different purposes when I do it. But with teaching fitness classes, that is a very social way that I do interact with a lot of people. And so even though I'm paid to do that, I put it in the category of it's social. We're doing it together. It's active.
Sure. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, I think your other things that were on your list, Mindy, like what were some of the other things? Because I don't think that they necessarily have to be social or even super active to be considered play.
Right. Well, certainly watching a girly show, because my house is full of boys and has been for quite some time. So watching a girl show means I'm by myself. And so I'll do that. Having lunch by myself, leisurely and slow. Going to Auburn for a day trip. Like if I get out of town or just go for a drive to a destination, you know, I have a lot of different ways I can see the lake around here. And so sometimes just taking the time, it feels like a gift to use time to waste on driving someplace I don't have to go. Doing something I don't have to do. Reading a book in the afternoon, that is a gift. So I already mentioned my nighttime routine, but if I actually get to read in the afternoon, that's actually a tremendous gift. And then if I don't have to rush out of the house in the morning, because I have something that I leave the house for pretty much every morning of the week.
Yes.
And so Saturday's kind of the one day I give myself time to just do something slowly in the morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about you guys?
Well, one thing I just thought of, and it's something she says on page 125 that I wanted to bring out because I love this. She says, my favorite pastime is to let time go by, to have time, to take my time, to waste my time, to live out of time. And I remember this is something that we talked about in Happy School when she was talking about finding your genius zone. She says, what is it that you do that just makes you lose track of time?
Yeah.
And this, just like the last 2 weeks, I started getting out my watercolors again. And I've been kind of painting with a friend who's just now getting into it. And she's got some like physical disabilities. So that's caused her to just dive into painting. And she's become this incredible artist just because she does it every day. And so she's been inspiring me. And I got my paints out and I painted till like midnight. I think I painted my Christmas card, like I've never done that in August, and And then it kind of got me thinking about some other art that I want to do that I want to do for Ezra. And I got the supplies, and like this week is a really busy week with things that I don't normally do. And I can't wait for the long weekend because I want to just have nothing on my plate so I can just focus on this art. And I thought that's the first time in a long while I've just looked forward to like having nothing to do so I can do something fun like that. Like that, it just seems really fun to me because I'm living out of time when I do it. And I think that's a good sign,
Yeah.
That's a really great sign.
Yeah.
Because I know we talked about this in a previous episode that when we first dropped off Jacob at school and I had been so excited for the extra time at that point, looking around and everybody else left, for work and school. And I thought, wow, a lot of time's actually scary, So I think that a lot of time can be either scary or it can be a gift. And so to be in a really healthy place of being excited for time to be able to do something with it that you want to do.
All right. Well, then we moved into the next chapter, which was on water and sunlight. And really it was about anti-aging nutritional formula, which was what she was talking about. But Julie,
non-diet,
yes. So Julie, what was she talking about here?
Well, she just talks about water and sunlight. And she says, if you want to live longer, then get out in the sun. And she suggests 15 to 30 minutes a day, making vitamin D. And I thought, well, that is not hard for me. Like I love to be outside. And then the other thing is water. She said, water is doubtless the least expensive anti-aging potion. And then she went into all the benefits of water and kind of how much you should be drinking. It's quite a bit. And I feel like I must be a camel because I never think I need a drink of anything. Like I have to make myself drink everything. I just don't get thirsty. I mean, now, like on my hike today, I drank a full bottle of water, but like just around, unless I'm really exerting myself out in the heat, I'm just not a thirsty person.
Wow.
And it's always been that way. But she said, as you get older, your thirst goes down. So you drink less and you really need more.
Right. I wouldn't say that I'm super thirsty either, Julie. Like when I exercise.
Yeah, but you always drink water.
Yeah, but when I exercise, I don't like to drink water while I'm exercising. Only if it was like 95 or 99 degrees. Like I don't like that water sloshing around in my stomach. Like I'll wait till I'm done.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so like I feel like I sometimes have to make myself and I'll get to like noon and I'll have had like 1 cup of water, but I know I should have had more because I'll start to get the very beginning tinges of a headache. And so I mostly drink in the morning hours so I can avoid taking ibuprofen later in the day just because I know that's what happens. But it's not because it's not like I was ignoring my thirst. I just didn't feel a need for it.
I'm following my thirst.
Yeah, if I followed my thirst, I'm not thirsty. Yeah,
because I have my morning coffee, which is doing exactly the opposite. It's a diuretic. It's making me more dehydrated. And sometimes like by 2 p.m, that is literally all I've had. Now, if I'm going to my workout, I'm going to have a smoothie before I go and I'm going to bring water. But just on some mornings, it's like, I'll think, wow. And I find like I carry my water bottle to my Bible study. I carry it everywhere I go and it comes back with the same amount in it that I brought. So like, why am I carrying this?
Okay. I just feel like I need to insert myself at this point. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
We're messed up. I know.
You are complete. But I am totally made fun of in my home because we could be going to the store and I have not only my 40-ounce cup that I'm constantly drinking from. It is never far away from me. It's sometimes closer to me more often than my phone, if that tells you anything. But we could be going to the store and I have, an insulated like lunchbox full of extra water bottles because I cannot bear the thought of getting dehydrated in any form or fashion. And in the morning, I drink the whole cup of water before I start with the coffee because it's the best thing to wake up all of your organs. I'm constantly thirsty. I'm constantly drinking. Now, somebody's going to diagnose me that's listening to this episode. You're like, you should get checked out for something. Like, there's a reason my body's not absorbing any of the iron. It's because I'm drinking it all away.
You're diluting it all.
I'm always thirsty.
I love those memes that say, kids in the 80s.
Oh, for
okay,
sure.
I went to school. I got 2 sips at the water fountain that you had to wait in a long line after PE. Every kid got 2 sips, and you only had that and lunch for 8 hours? And we were fine.
I was fine back then.
I really do feel like that's a conspiracy put out by Big Water that we need to have 8 ounces of water a day, because my whole life, I never even saw a plastic water bottle until college. Like, no one had water bottles, and we all lived, I don't know. Like, when she said that 8-cup thing, I thought, I've read articles before where that's kind of a myth. I don't know. I guess the point is that we should all be probably drinking. Mindy doesn't need to drink anymore, but Julie and I do.
Nobody needs to tell me to drink water. I could care less what people are saying we need. I'm not actually regulating anything. I kind of laugh when I see people with those bottles and it's like, drink this much by 10 and this much by 12. And I'm like, okay, you're way over complicating this. Like, my body is thirsty. I'm drinking the water. Now, this is a new thing, water, because I used to be like Coke, then it was Diet Coke. Then it was Coke Zero. It was Diet Dr. Pepper. I mean, I definitely drank other things in the past, but I truly love water in a way that you're not taking it from me. And people will continue to make fun of me for the water that I feel like I have to have. And I do feel like I have been harmed in some way if I have been without water for an hour. I'm deprived.
Don't
what
visit
are you
the
doing
desert,
to me?
Mindy.
Well, water's important, listeners. And sunlight is important. So I don't know what your opinions on water are, but we've got strong opinions over here on Midlife Matters about water.
But Marie and I are going to turn into crisp and
Okay, well, let's talk about the eating, because this novel concept, Julie, why don't you explain it for listeners about the 3 colors and the 5 colors in a day? I have never thought about this before in this way.
Her personal rule is to eat 3 colors on a plate and at least 5 colors in a day. How's that for a formula? And I thought, okay, first of all, I think I misunderstood her. I thought she just meant fruits and vegetables only. And I thought, are there 5 colors? But she said if you're consistently eating monochromatic meals, especially in the brown tones,
chocolate.
You're probably
bummer. Bread.
I was thinking gravy.
I immediately thought of chocolate.
She said you're probably depriving your body of essential nutrients. So then she went on to say, 3 colors on a plate, 5 a day, and I don't know. I started writing down, okay, what do I know in the greens? What do I know in the yellows? What do I know in the reds? And once I got to where she said, oh yeah, this can be chocolate, it could be nuts, it could be fish.
Okay.
I thought, okay, I can do this. But I don't know. I like visuals like that. I think that's a really, she said, if you eat that way, you don't have to think so much about carbs, proteins, fat. Like, you're probably going to get it correct by varying that, because if you're eating all white, you're going to have white rice, white bread, potatoes, that's not good.
White chocolate.
I love a colorful plate. Like
white chocolate.
I don't have any trouble hitting the brown foods. Chocolate. I'm glad that's one of my colors every day. But this is funny because I don't intuitively, I don't like an all yellow plate. Like, I can remember when I would serve the kids tacos and then they would want corn, and like the taco shell and the corn is just so boring. Yes, it's like an all yellow plate.
Yeah.
I love a colorful plate. It does. I never thought about it that way, but it does make me more excited And I enjoy my meal more if there's like watermelon, some kind of green, a meat, I don't know, like just a lot of different colors. And then I have to end with a piece of chocolate. So.
Right. Well, and it's just a super easy way to say this isn't right. Like it's so easy to just visually look and say, what could I add? I don't have anything red, so go get it. You know, what is it? Right. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of a brilliant way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, it's really creative. It's very simple and logical. And I know I didn't realize how excited I got when we just put together a meal that's colorful. And I'm looking at the plate and I'm like, oh, that's very visually appealing. And then I'm excited to eat it, you know, but it even looks better.
I think that's why salads can be like a hearty salad can be so appealing because you throw in so many different colors and your eyes like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah. We have recently added salmon because my mom said she didn't like salmon, and I made her eat some, and she was like, "This is really good." So I got so excited because Trader Joe's sells little frozen strips of salmon that have a little dollop of herb butter on them.
Yeah,
and they're so good, and they're like $5. So we had it last week, and we're having it tonight, and so now I get to add pink to my plate.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a new color, you know.
I just had salmon last night, and I thought about these colors.
Yeah. Another good way that I get more colors, because I'm not a big fruit and veggie eater, like just to go, eat them, is like this morning I had a smoothie and I did bananas, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and I put a whole apple in there because I just don't enjoy eating an apple. I just don't. And if I do, I peel it, and then I've lost all the benefits. So, I just put about a half a cup of non-fat yogurt, a little bit of honey, and water. And it is so good. Because I used to use milk, and I really like the water better.
Yeah, smoothie. That's a good way to get a bunch of colors in a smoothie.
Yeah, and then you can do green. You could add avocado or spinach, and you don't even taste it. So that's that's an easier way if you don't enjoy eating all those foods.
All right. Well, she talks about eating with your head. She says, eat breakfast 3 meals a day or 4 smaller ones if you must. But the key is you should include carbs, protein, fat, always. So like she's kind of saying like, think about what you're eating and think about making it balanced for your meals and your snacks. And she said, past age 45, decrease meat intake, portions, and opt for quality over quantity. And reserve the chips and cupcakes and the like for indulgences. So I do think that eating with your head becomes more important as you get older. I think that's why we all partly hate planning dinner too, because you're trying to plan like something healthy and balanced and
easy.
And sometimes those are like diabolically opposed to each other. Like easy is not always healthy. So it's hard.
Yeah. I know. I appreciated this eat with your head because I always think about using thought or logic or wisdom or truth to lead the choices I make as opposed to emotions. And so I kind of related this with that I think like, okay, eat what you know is good, not what you're craving. Like your mind should tell your body what you need to have and then learn to like that because you can. And so I appreciated that she said it easily, like eat with your head. Okay, do what you know is right. Like,
right.
Yeah, and just think like if you're going to have, like I might go in there and get a piece of cheese. Like, okay, this is filling the fat and the, so what's my carb? What's my protein or what, it's just more than just eating what you want to eat. Even if it's good, you need to have it balanced. So that's still go back to the color thing. That
right.
It's like a child. I can think colors. I can do this.
Right. Yes. Right. Well, do you treat breakfast as the most important meal of the day? I mean, I say a resounding yes. I love breakfast. I look forward to it every day, even though I eat the exact same breakfast. I just love breakfast. It's my favorite meal.
I don't. Well, I don't. I love yogurt, granola, and fruit, and I love toast. Toast is not the greatest breakfast, but that would be my favorite breakfast.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to work out, I can't go on toast.
I don't feel like toast has to be bad though, because you could put avocado or peanut butter or something on it.
Yeah. But it's not quite enough for a workout.
And could you
something.
pair it with the yogurt?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. It's like, so this morning I had a little piece of toast, then I made my smoothie. So I got my little piece of toast.
Oh, that's good.
And then I had my smoothie before my hike. So eating with my head. Yeah. I think that's going to stick with me.
Yeah. I do think breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But the caveat I would say is that breakfast, all that means is breaking your fast. And that could be at a different time of the day than 7 or 8 or in the morning. So I typically will break my fast. Usually I'm going to say like around 2 p.m. Like that is when I'm eating my breakfast. And it's actually very important though, because that first meal of breaking your fast, I know I need to have a little more protein in it. I do need a carb in it for instant energy, but protein will help me feel full. And it will help cut down any cravings. And so I definitely have noticed that for me, my breakfast is to have a good amount of protein to be satiated and feel full and happy.
Do you find in meals in general, protein is the hardest thing? That's the hardest thing for me to, I don't know. They say women, as you get older, you need a lot more protein. And I have trouble finding things that I enjoy at every meal that are full of protein.
I do too, Julie. I do struggle with that. And I don't do a protein shake. I don't necessarily like to drink my, the things that I need. The breakfast meal is easy. And I'm similar to Marie. It's the same thing every day still if I'm at home. And it's, it includes eggs and like turkey sausage or something. And so breakfast, I have no problem getting a protein. But later in the day, sometimes I do.
Yeah. I guess I don't like a hot breakfast, like I don't. So it's harder to get, I like that breakfast at night, but I just don't love cooking in the morning and eating hot food.
Yeah.
She talks about the 5 pounds alert. So Julie, do you want to explain that?
This is a little personal.
I felt like it was a little, I don't know. It could work for some people and not others.
I just remember when I lost all my weight about 10 years ago, I think I lost it over 20 pounds and it felt so good. And I've said over the years, like, I'd rather fit in my pants and feel good and healthy than have that cake. Well, that is not true right now. I'd rather have the cake. Yes. And I said, this is my top weight limit. And when I start to approach it, like I gave myself like 5 pounds, and when I start to approach this, then I know it's time to cut it off. Well, I've sailed right past that and it doesn't feel good. And like when you're grieving, people say, oh, you don't have the energy to worry about your diet, Julie, just eat what feels good. And at first I was not doing that. And now I've fallen into that, like have the cookie, have the ice cream at night, whatever. And now I'm paying the consequences of that. So yes, I do think you should, whatever it is in your mind, kind of have a boundary, this is the time to take action. And, it may just be what you feel like or what you, a size clothing or a blood pressure level, whatever it is that indicates that something's not right with the way you're taking care of yourself.
Right.
If it's not going to be weight, it needs to be something. So, because it just gets harder and harder the further out you go. 5 pounds, like her 5 pounds, I think was a good number. Like, in other words, rein it in quickly.
Yeah, I think that was her point, was kind of be aware, like maybe you use like how you fit in a certain pants or how you're feeling about your clothes for the season. And then, and I think we already talked about, first of all, this book was written about 10 years ago. And second of all, she's very into looks. So, some people, the 5 pound might be too stringent. Like, okay, I'm going to start to worry about that when it's 10 or 15 or something, but I'm not going to worry about every 5 pounds.
It's 5. Yeah. I was going to say that, Marie. Yeah, my threshold's like 15 pounds. I mean, there are seasons I'm just like, I just don't even care. I know I'm going to have 15 extra pounds. It's fine. When I'm ready, I'll deal with it. And then I do.
Yeah. So I would take what she said with a grain of salt. And I don't know that, I get her point, but I also feel like this was written maybe at a little bit of different time period. She could come down kind of hard.
I wonder if she means though, like, because she does talk about like if I gave myself 15 and then I turned 60, I don't think what worked at 50 is going to work at 60. You know, like it's going to get harder and harder. So I think that's why she's saying like just beware. Like what you did in your 50s may not work in your 60s or 70s. You know,
right? And that is true. Like that's true our whole life. Like you can't eat like you ate in college when you're in your 30s, and when you're in your 40s, you probably can't eat like you did in your 30s. Like that's just true of aging bodies in general. And that's part of eating with your head is like being aware that, you know, that's why like when you're, you know, in your 70s or 80s, you find people that are eating like one big meal a day because they just don't need as much food. You know, they have like a tiny little breakfast and a tiny little, you know, but they just don't feel as hungry. And so I do think that changes, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think if we definitely stress about 5 pounds, you're just going to gain weight, like because the stress of it, the mental, you know, weight of, oh my gosh, you know, I've gained weight. I'm at the threshold, but I do think having a healthier outlook of just a longer time frame, not so stringent on 5 pounds and, you know, change my life and jump back into it because I don't know, like, I just think you're going to ebb and flow, you know, and I think just kind of know at some point, you know what, you're going to really care about that again, and you'll deal with it when you care about it again.
All right. Well, she talks about eating habits changing, just like we said, you know, everything changes over the decades. So how have your eating habits changed as you've aged? I mean, we don't still, you know, order pizza at midnight. So like how have our eating habits changed as we've gotten older?
Well, it is really surprising how much less hungry you get or like or how much you're capable of eating at a single meal. Because my kids make fun of me like, Mom, you know, what is that on your plate? Like that's hardly anything. It's like, I am full. I promise you, I am full. And I'm, you know, where I indulge is more like stuff I shouldn't be eating. But as far as a meal goes, like I cannot eat as much as I used to, you know, and John and I would split everything. So it's really hard to go out.
I know. The whole time I've known you guys always split everything when we go out. Like you've been doing that for 20 years.
Yeah. And that was all his idea, by the way, not mine.
Got it.
Yeah. And I'm not really good at just splitting it on my plate and saying I'll eat it later. I tend to want to eat it all, you know, and then feel terrible. So yeah, I just think you do need less the older, well, you're less hungry. I don't know. You probably still need protein and all. That's why it's harder to get. But yeah. And like I said, I don't like to eat late at night. So that's probably why old people show up at restaurants at 5 o'clock because they don't want to feel bad. I never thought about that. Like, it's not just to beat the crowd or get the cheap price. It's probably because they don't want to feel bad going to bed.
Right. Well, and if you're eating like them, I'll say sometimes I definitely fit in the old person category here with the way that I feel best eating. I really could do just one big meal and it could be at like 4 o'clock and I could eat all of my calories in one meal and be completely happy. And so I can see that happening naturally. Like that was a natural progression. I don't do that every day. There's other days I'm just hungrier and I'm going to eat more, but or at different times. But no, that, and also I'll say something else that's changed is the quality of food has to be there. I cannot eat just empty calories. And that's just learning from my own gut health. What makes me feel good is what I gravitate towards that also tastes good. And so I'm not going to eat just anything. Like I said, I'd rather go without than eat bad food. I want good food, quality food. And vegetables have become a lot more important the older I get. I would have never said, you know, I really enjoy vegetables, but now I do.
Yeah. Well, I would just say like that brings up, Mindy, in my mind, like, I don't know that I, you know, like the time of day I eat or anything like that has changed so much, but I would say like what I eat has changed because food preferences have changed. So my daughter just had a baby and people in my family wanted to bring her meals. And someone said, do you know if Abigail likes meatloaf? And I already knew that Abigail did not like meatloaf. But like meatloaf used to be a meal that people served. But this generation, I don't even think they know what meatloaf is really. Or like someone else wanted to bring lasagna. And it's like, she hates lasagna. Like, we just don't cook like that anymore. Or I was thinking of like the meals like that I used to make, like when Steve and I first got married, like a lot of casseroles and things like that, that my kids either have never had them, or if I served them now, they'd be like, yuck, Mom, what is that? Like, we just, I don't know, I feel like generations eat differently. And so now I eat differently. Like when I was growing up, you would open up a can of that ravioli, put it in a saucepan, and that would be your lunch. And you didn't give one thought to whether that was balanced or it tasted. Who even knows what that meat was in there? But that was like a great lunch. And you'd pair it with some white bread and butter, and that was your meal. And I have pictures of my kids like eating that ravioli in their high chair, but only of the two older ones. I never bought it for the younger ones. Like by then, like your thoughts on food avocado started to change. Like, and like my grandchildren have never even seen that ravioli in a can. Like we just eat differently now. And so that's what I'm saying. Like I would say that as I've aged, what we eat is so different, even in society.
Yeah. Like my mom and I just had this discussion, and I actually read it in a Southern Living magazine. This woman was saying, I'm going to share this great recipe, and it was for poppy seed chicken. Do you remember poppy seed chicken in the 90s?
Popular, yeah.
Well, it's like 3 different cans of soup, condensed soup, chicken, butter on Ritz crackers for the topping. Like there's not enough butter in Ritz crackers. And, that was like, I think we had that once a week when my kids were little. And that was the go-to meal, like to take to somebody that had just had a baby. And I said, if I took that to anybody that had a baby, I think they would just throw it out now. Like, I don't think they would know what to do with that or what it was. And, like eating has just become so much more of like an art and individual foods. Casseroles are just not in it. And, my kids wouldn't eat that either.
I mean,
but we still love lasagna.
Cream of chicken soup and cream of mushroom soup on the regular. Like that was a weekly staple. I have not used a cream soup now in years because I can't think of a recipe that I could serve to anyone else that they would like it with cream soup in it. And I don't even really want to eat cream soup anymore, but that was a staple.
Yeah. It's slowly coming out of my Thanksgiving yearly foods. That's the only time of year I found I was buying like a cream of celery, cream of mushroom. And, but now we slowly keep taking casseroles out. We're like, does anybody even like this? No. Why are we making this still, And, we're even on to like, we might just have steak for Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Yeah. So I definitely think that like what we eat has changed so much. So that'd be an interesting topic in and of itself. Like the stuff that we used to eat and think was a perfectly fine meal.
Well, yeah, like, do you remember like Jell-O salads were a thing? And my kids are like, no, like that is so gross.
Okay. Anytime I'm feeling nostalgic, which this happened to me last week, I'm just going to tell on myself. I think about a childhood food, like the canned ravioli. And I'm like, oh, that was so good. Well, I used to eat every like a chili cheese dog once a year. Like we would make that. And I just thought, oh, it's time for a chili cheese dog.
Oh, that's still an okay thing.
I had one last week and I was like, just don't feel great.
I wonder why.
I just don't feel great. So I got rid of the leftovers and I told Bryce, I said, I'm over it. I'm over it. He always made fun of me for my once a year chili cheese dog. And I'm like, I just think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's not.
It went out of the rotation for a reason.
At least for me, it's not.
Yeah. All right. Well, listeners, if you are reading this book, French Women Don't Get Facelifts, we would love to hear from you. Find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
Okay, I'm going to be a fan here of a recipe. And I made it twice this week. Marie already knows this story.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I had a really busy day on Tuesday. So Monday night, I thought I'm going to make dinner for Tuesday night. And I was actually going out to dinner that night. So I pulled it out of the oven at 5:00. It was really hot, left it on the stove, went to dinner thinking I'll be back within 2 hours. So it's good. Well, I got back 3 hours and 45 minutes later, and that was still sitting there. And I had just totally forgotten about it. And I thought, oh, it'll be okay. So I put it in the fridge. Well, I woke up at 5 that morning thinking about that casserole. Like, can I feed that to my mother? Can I feed that to David? I'm literally thinking, what's David got on the schedule this week? Like, could we afford a food poisoning episode? Like, no.
Oh my gosh.
But at 6 a.m., I just thought, I'm just making a decision. We are not eating that. So I had a full day. So at 6 a.m., I'm remaking the grocery list for this casserole. Not a casserole, enchiladas. And I had it set up to pick up at noon right after Bible study, came home, remade it. And it was delish. We had it last night. I'll be making it again. And it's creamy salsa verde chicken enchiladas. And it has no soup in it. Because I think a long time ago I used to make these and it had some kind of soup.
Yeah.
No. It's just garlic, chopped up fine onions and jalapeno sauteed. And then you add a jar of the salsa verde, which is the green tomatillo salsa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that kick to it. And then fresh cilantro. And then you pull apart a whole rotisserie chicken. And then there's a little bit of sour cream in there. And then you roll it up in 10 tortillas and then pour the remainder of the sauce over and add some cheese.
Yeah.
It is so good. So
all right.
Well, sounds
I will link to
good.
that in our show notes. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
All right. I happened upon something the other day when I had to go into Walmart, and I actually decided to, on a wild hair, waste time and breeze through their clothing section.
Okay.
I found the cutest jacket that I am so excited about.
Oh.
I'm going to send you the link. It is perfect for where I live for fall, probably winter and spring. It is lightweight, but it's called the Avia Women's Quilted Outdoor Jacket. It stops about at waist level, and it's real soft on the inside, but it's quilted. It's lightweight. It's got a hood. It's just a simple jacket that I think will go with everything. I feel like it would be cute even to size up and have that oversized jacket look. But I just feel like the weight of it, the look, it's a khaki color. Now the description says it's called gray mauve, but it's khaki. And it only comes in 2 colors. And the pink color, if you look at it online, it's a really bright pink. I thought it was not for me, but this khaki little quilted jacket is so perfect. And it's under $30, just
Awesome.
under $30. And I think because it's cheap, it's going to wash, I don't care. Like I can throw it in the washer. I feel like it'll be like weather resistant, just soft enough to wear even in the rain,
Nice.
that it could be a little bit, resistant to water. So I love this little jacket. I think it's so perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never think about doing that, but that's a great way to waste some time and find something cute. All right. Well, I just have a real quick, I'm a fan, going along with the food. So Trader Joe's, I love their pizza dough. And I know we've talked about that before. They're like refrigerated pizza dough, but now they also do gluten-free, which is awesome for anyone that is not aware of that. And for a while there, it was like, oh yeah, there's a spot for gluten-free, but it's never in stock. But now when I've been going, they're actually carrying it. And my daughter-in-law and my daughter are eating gluten-free. And so I have made it and it turns out well and it tastes good. And, it's still pretty reasonably priced. It is more than the regular pizza dough, but, it's probably like $3.50 versus $1.50. So it's not a huge difference. So anyways, if you're in Trader Joe's and you have to make gluten-free pizza, that's an easy way to do it. And I love easy.
Yeah. And you can just trust that it's going to be good if it's from there.
Yes, for sure. All right, you guys, I loved this discussion. This was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that we can talk about aging with style and attitude.
That's right.
We're doing our best.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Sounds great. Bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.